Let's talk about a local business today. Traderbaker's Vendor Mall in Washington, Indiana. Now, for a little background, I've been a vendor there since 2018 or 2019. So I've been there quite a while. Now, there have never been any major problems there until the last couple of months. Now, a few times I've went in there to do things, and I'll be honest with you, I've never made any money at that place. I basically just put laser engraved stuff up there so people could order laser engraved custom stuff with their names on it and those kind of things. So I never really used it as a income producing avenue or venue. But I went in there and signed up before I retired from the phone company, and signed all my rental agreements and all that kind of stuff, and paid them the first month's rent. Now, this is before I moved in. So I then started moving stuff into the booth slowly, and generally just go in every month, about twice a month, and I first week or so of the month and pay my rent, and then sometime halfway through the month to restock the booth, or drop stuff off that customers ordered that I wasn't going to be in town the same time they were, so they could just go to the booth and pick it up. I've never had any problems there. Been a couple little things, like once I went in there and there was an extra charge on my booth rental that month, or my account that month, that basically said $20-something miscellaneous booth fees. And I asked the local manager there, I said, "What's that for?" She goes, "I don't know." She goes, "That gets put on by the folks who do take care of the accounts." And I go, "All right, no big deal. It's only $20 or something like that. I'll just go ahead and pay it. Don't worry about it." And I did. Didn't bitch, didn't moan, didn't complain. Only one time there have I outsold my booth rent. And the way it works there is you rent a booth, and they take care of all the transactions for the individual pieces of merchandise up front at the cash registers. And then they either take it off your rent for the next month if you didn't make enough of your rent, or they send you a check if you had a surplus, if you sold more than what your rent was. Now, only one time in the years that I've been there did I actually do that. And I went in there and I asked how much I owe, and she goes, "We owe you $55 or something like that. They'll be sending you a check." Now, that check never showed up, never came. I didn't really bitch about that. Didn't say a word about it. And let's fast forward to April the 3rd of this year, 2023. And I got a call on the 3rd of April while I'm driving home from Ohio. And this lady says, "This is Mindy from Traderbaker's." She goes, "Your rent's due on the 5th, so to avoid a late fee, you can pay me over the phone right now." Mind you, this is the 3rd. And I was driving, so I didn't have time to address the fact that my rent's not due yet, so you're not going to threaten me with a late fee. So I said, "No, I'm coming in tomorrow. I'll pay my rent when I get in there tomorrow." And I did. And I went in and paid my rent the next day. And after I got done doing the transaction, I asked the lady, I said, "Who called me yesterday?" And she goes, "That was Mindy. She's from another store. She's kind of over several stores." And I said, "All right, you need to tell her to don't call me before the due date and threaten me with a late fee that's not even in the contract." And she goes, "Yeah, I know. We've had several vendors complain about her calling." And I said, "Well, I'm telling you right now, you can tell her that if it happens next month, I'm moving out because I'm not going to be harassed. I've been here for many years and I haven't caused any trouble, haven't done anything. Just come in and pay my rent. That's all I do." And she goes, "Yeah, several vendors are mad and they're thinking about moving out." I said, "All right, no big deal." Now, let's bump forward to May the 1st. I get a call from a lady introduced herself as Gladys. And she goes, yeah, I'm from Traderbaker's. You owe $80 rent. You're due on the 5th. I said, well, it's the 1st. And she goes, yeah, but you can go ahead and pay over the phone. And I go, no, not doing that. Because quite frankly, no. And she goes, well, there's going to be a late fee. I said, well, first of all, there's no late fee in the contract. And no, not doing it. I said, I always pay my rent. It's not like I don't pay my rent. I said, so not happening. And she starts getting gripey with me. So being me, I start getting gripey back. And it got a little heated. And I used some language I probably shouldn't have, but I didn't start this mess. So, and then she goes, well, you're going to talk to my district. And she puts somebody else on the phone, and this is that Mindy again. And she starts telling me how I'm going to be charged a late fee. And I go, I'm not going to be charged a late fee because, first of all, it's not in the contract. And second of all, it ain't due yet. And she gets gripey with me. And I said, I'm not paying a late fee that's not in the contract. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. And she goes, well, you're terminated then. I'm just going to terminate you. Well, first of all, I'm not an employee, so you're not terminating me. I am your customer. The vendors are your customers, not the people who buy the stuff out of the booths. The vendors who pay you the rent are your customers. But anyway, she says I'm terminated 2 or 3 times and hangs up on me. But this time I've got a full head of steam on. So I get on the internet to try to find out how Traderbaker's is laid out. Is there a main store? Is there a main number I can call? And I can't really find anything on the internet. I got a couple of leads. So I found a Traderbaker LLC in LaGrange, Kentucky with a phone number. So I said, well, hell with it. I'll just call back to the store here. And I call the store, and a lady answers the phone, one of the cashiers. I go, listen, I just need a phone number to wherever the main location is or whoever's in charge of Traderbaker's. I just need a phone number. And she goes, I don't know that. I don't know a phone number. And I go, well, how do I get a hold of somebody? She goes, I don't know. I said, well, who does know? And she goes, hang on a second. And she puts this Gladys back on the phone. And Gladys starts out the conversation by going, you need to stop calling here. We've already terminated you. And I go, well, all I need is a phone number to the main location, whoever's in charge. And she goes, well, you got a contract. You figure it out. Click, and hangs up on me. All right. Now I've got even more of a head of steam on. So I get back on the internet and I find that area or that phone number that's attached to Traderbaker LLC in LaGrange, Kentucky again, and I call them. And I get somebody on the phone down there. I told them what was going on. And she goes, well, hang on, let me let you talk to somebody else. And I think it was Clara or somebody. And I told the story again. And this lady says, you're right. There's no late fee or anything like that. She goes, I don't know what they're talking about. And I go, well, I said, this lady said I'm terminated and I have to clean up my booth and all kinds of stuff. So what do I do? Who do I need to talk to? I said, if you guys don't want me as a vendor, that's fine. I won't be a vendor. And she goes, oh no, we want you for a vendor. And she goes, now who are these people you're talking to? And I gave her the names. And she does some tippy tapping on the computer or something. And she goes, well, the store manager up there is Sue. I said, well, this wasn't Sue. This was somebody called Gladys. And the lady that I talked to last month and this month was also a Mindy. And she says she's the district manager. And this lady says, well, I don't know. I don't know who that is. She goes, we don't really have district managers. We've got a general manager, and that's Tony. But she's on vacation this week, so I can take your name and phone number. She can call you back. And I go, yeah, let's do that. And we went through it again, and she basically said, now Tony's on vacation. So when she comes back, I'll make sure she calls you back, and we can get this taken care of. And I said, okay, and made sure she had the phone number and all that kind of stuff was right. Now, this is all on the 1st. Or no, 2nd. No, 1st. And so I go in on the morning of the 2nd, mad. I was going to clean my booth out. So I go into the store with my empty boxes, and go back to my booth to clean my merchandise out and do all that kind of stuff, and my shelves are bare. And the freestanding shelves that were in there are gone. All of my pegboard hooks are gone. All my merchandise, gone. Freestanding shelves, gone. So I knew that they had took my stuff and hid it someplace. So at this particular point in time, I called the local police department. And I said, listen, I'm over here at Traderbaker's. I'm going to try to get my stuff back, but they have taken my stuff and hid it someplace. I said, so could you send somebody over here? And all this time I'm standing in front of my booth. So I turn around and I walk back up front and I go, where's my stuff? And the lady goes, what are you talking about? I said, all my stuff's gone out of my booth. Where's my stuff? She goes, what booth number? I said, booth number 143. She goes, oh, you're K.R.Baxter. I go, yes, I am. Where's my stuff? And she goes, well, if you come up with $80, you can get your stuff back. And I said, my rent's not due till the 5th. Today's the 2nd. I said, I want my stuff back. I want it back right now. And she goes, well, you're not going to get your stuff until you pay your rent. I said, my rent's not due until the 5th. Today's the 2nd. And she goes, well, if you come up with $80, you can get your stuff back. And I said, I'm going to go back and start taking my stuff down that's screwed to the wall back there. You got 5 minutes to give me my stuff back. She goes, well, I'm just going to call the police. I said, go ahead and call them. It's 254-4410. I already called them. So do whatever you want to. But I'm going back to the booth to take care of this. And I went back and started taking my stuff off the wall. And I had a load ready to go out to my van. And I started carrying it out front. And the police shows up. They pull up to the front door and park up there. And she comes running out of the store with papers in her hand. And starts talking to the cops. She needed to be the first to talk to the cops. She needed to be the first. So I go over there and stand and wait. And I'm waiting. And after they got done talking to her, he looks at me and says, what's the problem? I said, my rent's due on the 5th. They stole my stuff and took it and hid it. And I just want my stuff back so I can leave. That's all. I just want to get my stuff and leave. And he walks inside with me. I walk back to the thing, and she follows us back there. And I'm continuing to take my stuff down off the wall. And he asked me some more questions, what's going on, all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, here's the deal. They're threatening me with a late fee that doesn't exist. And the late fee wouldn't even take effect until the 5th when my rent's due. So I don't know what the heck they're talking about. And now they've taken all my stuff before the due date. They've taken it all. And he steps off and starts talking to her back a little ways. And all of a sudden he comes back while I'm taking all my stuff down off the wall still. And he goes, well, your shelves and stuff are over here. She brought them out from the back. And I walk back there and look at my shelves. They had taken them all apart, and they're all laying on the floor in a pile in front of the door that goes to the back room, which she had chained and locked with a padlock and a chain around the door handles. And I said, well, where's my merchandise? Where's my stuff that was in the booth? She goes, there wasn't anything in the booth. Your shelves were empty. I go, that's not true. Not true at all. There was plenty of stuff in the booth. There was stuff hanging on the wall. There was stuff on the shelves. There was all kinds of stuff in there. And she goes, no, there was nothing in your booth. There was nothing in your booth. And I said, that's not true. And the police officer, he goes, can you prove there were anything that you had merchandise in your booth? And I go, hang on. I usually take pictures of my booth when I stock it so I know what's there. And I start going through the photos on my phone. And miraculously, she goes back in that room and starts throwing my merchandise out into the middle of the floor. Not being gentle. There's glass, there's breakables, there's all kinds of stuff in there. And she's just throwing it out on the floor. She goes, oh, I got your stuff. I've got your stuff. So all of a sudden, from the booth being empty, she starts throwing my stuff out of the back after she swore that there was nothing in the booth. So, all well and good. I start loading stuff up, and I go, this is not all. Where's the rest of it? She goes, that's all that was in there. I go, well, it's not, but I don't care. I'm just going to load my stuff up and go. And I start boxing stuff up and went up to the front and got a flat cart to take all my stuff out. And I take the first load out, my shelves and some merchandise and things like that. And at this particular point in time, the two police officers that responded are following me around like I'm being bad. I just want my stuff back. Wasn't yelling, wasn't hollering, wasn't causing a scene, just said, want my stuff back, want it now. But anyway, they're following me around. I take the first load out. I called a buddy of mine to come over and help me get the second load out. And he showed up, and we got it all out on the second load. And we go out of the store. The police go out of the store with us, and they get back in their cars and are sitting there, I guess, writing up what are they writing up or talking to each other on the phone. I don't know what they were doing. But I take the flat cart back in and push it back to where it was where I got it from. And somebody called me. They go, "Hey, how's it going?" And I wanted to talk for a minute. And I was standing there talking, and this lady starts yelling over a megaphone for somebody in the back of the store. Very professional. She's 10 feet from the cash registers where people are trying to talk to the cashiers and check out and all that kind of stuff. And she's screaming for somebody in the back over this megaphone. And then she stops screaming and laughs like a little child, like she did something cute. And so I concluded my conversation with the other gentleman and walked the head out. And I called that main number again and talked to somebody else. And I said, "Listen, they took all my stuff. They refused to give it back. Then they said there wasn't anything to give back. And then all of a sudden, after I volunteered to produce produce photos of the booth to the police officers that were on the scene, all of a sudden she found my stuff. So she was trying to steal my stuff. And when I asked her about it, she said, 'All of your stuff belongs to Mr. Baker now.'" Okay, whatever. But I ended up getting my stuff. But I'm kind of really angry now. Kind of really angry. And this guy gives me the same thing. "Well, Tony's the general manager. She's on vacation. You'll have to talk to her next week when she comes back." And I said, "Fine, whatever. I got my stuff. I'm getting my stuff out. Gone." And then I went back. Then I went and had to go out of town again for 4 or 5 days. And I did that. And when I got back today's the 8th of May. I waited until about noon. Hadn't received a call back from this Tony yet. So I called back down there. And now mind you, the guy that I talked to the week before had said, "Call in here and ask for Tony. She'll be back next week." Got it. So today when I call in there, I ask for Tony. And I get somebody else on the phone. She goes, "Hi, this is Clara." I think it was Clara again. She goes, "Hi, this is Clara." She goes, "How can I help you?" I said, "I need to talk to Tony. I was told to call back in here and talk to Tony this week." And she goes, "Well, Tony doesn't work in this office. She works in another place, so she doesn't actually come in here." I go, "Well, y'all told me last week that she worked there and she was on vacation. I'd have to call back in to talk to her when she got back off vacation." And I was told specifically when I talked to the guy, Adam, I think it was, that I could call in and ask for her at that same number, and it was and I could talk to her. And he goes, No, she doesn't work in this office. And they called us from that store up there, and they said everything's taken care of, but you owe $80 in back rent. And that was what the whole problem was. And I said, "I don't owe $80 in back rent. I paid I paid when I reserved the booth, and I paid every month since. So the rent is for the following month, not for the last month. It's for the following month, because I paid the first day that I rented the booth." And so no, that's not a thing, and it's not all right. They tried to steal all my stuff. Told me I didn't have any stuff, and then produced the stuff when I offered photos of the booth to the police that were there. I said, "So I need to talk to Tony, plain and simple." And she goes, "Well, I don't know what's going on, because they told us it was all taken care of." From their perspective, it probably is taken care of. It probably is. So. But this lady took my phone number again, and Tony's supposed to be calling me back later in the day. At this particular point in time, I doubt they will. So this message is for Mr. Baker, the guy who owns the whole chain, supposedly. If this is the way you think your managers ought to treat your vendors, that's fine. All well and good. If you don't know this is going on, maybe I'll take care of it. Because your staff up here, the new staff that replaced the old staff, are unprofessional and rude. Plain and simple, rude. Let's recap. Been there since 2018 or 2019. Have never not paid my rent. When I booked the booth, the lady told me my rent was due on the 5th. And I told her, I said, "Well, I spend a lot of time on the road running back and forth teaching classes and things like this. So I may be a little late sometimes, but you'll always get your money." And she goes, "That's not a problem, as long as you know, as long as you come in early in the month and take care of it, that's fine." Now, I generally always pay it well before the 5th. But there have been a couple times I paid it late. Never been charged a late fee, oddly enough. This late fee that they want to charge has never been a factor before. But now, they started threatening me before the due date with a late fee. That doesn't exist. And I finally ended up moving out because I was terminated by Mindy. And then they tried to steal all my stuff. And the biggest petty thing about it was when I told the lady, I said, where are all my pegboard hooks were back there? Because I had double pegboard hooks because I sell cutting boards that have got a big hole in the top. And I used double pegboard hook to hang those so they hang nice. And I had bought a whole bunch of those for all the cutting boards. They even refused to give me the pegboard hooks. I go, where are my pegboard hooks? And he goes, there weren't any hooks. Well, stuff was hanging on the wall and it wasn't hovering up there. So I didn't even want to push the issue. I'll be perfectly honest with you. So I don't like the things that were said to me. So one of two things is going on. They either treat all the vendors like this, or for some reason, unknown to me, I've been singled out the last couple of months. And that's fine. But it's like this. Ain't no way to treat people. Ain't no way to treat people. So, with all that being said, there are a lot of details I left out here. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Because I'm kind of angry. But anyhow, I'll just wait and see if Tony actually calls back. And if she does, there'll be a part 2 for this. But if you're a vendor looking for a vendor mall to set up a booth in, I wouldn't go to Traderbaker's. At least not in Washington. So, talk to y'all later.